Hey guys. All right. Today's shave is another one with the Rex Ambassador. I set it on 2.5 last time. And this time, let's set it on 2. We'll see how it goes. It was a pretty good shave last time. I did feel some kind of a little bit of aggression on especially my neck area. It could have been the soap, the cream that I was using, or it could have just been this particular razor geometry, the razor head geometry may not really agree with my face or shaving style or whatever. Gorgeous handle here on this, a hammer and chisel handle. Sorry, I'm not used to where the camera is because my camera's flipped over. My phone is flipped over, so the camera's on the other side, the other corner of the face of the camera. It's been soaking for a little while. This is a B5 knot from Declaration Grooming, super soft. This brush has the knot mounted a little higher than average, and I could tell that before I bought it by the width of the lighter colored bristles right here. And so I thought, yeah, that might be what I want. And I was right. I like the way this guy works. And so I am going to be keeping him unless this handle coloring is gorgeous. But I do like the knob of the handle to be a little bit bigger than the part up near the brush knot. And so this does feel pretty good. You know, someday maybe if I find another one that's a little more ergonomic, a little nicer looking aesthetically, then I might go ahead and swap it out. But B5s are kind of rare, so that may never happen. And if it doesn't, I'm fine with it. It's a great brush, this one here. Now the Rex I used yesterday with a fairly new Nasset blade. And today I'm going to use PolSilver, another one of my favorites. Didn't start out to be a favorite of mine. This one's been used 18 times, as you can see, roughly 18. I may be off by 1. Sometimes I forget to dot the envelope, but the the computer entry will tell you if you look at the description. And this is one I'm going to marathon. I put an X up there in the corner with 2 dots in the center there, just kind of to be a little bit of a signature. Hey, I wanted to share, just in case you were curious, there are these razor cases, travel cases, and they're kind of a leather-like product. They're probably real leather. They don't look super awesome quality, but I think I get them off AliExpress for about $6. You might be able to find them on eBay for that much as well. You can definitely find them for more for people who are trying to upsell you, but I would, you know, get them on AliExpress. And this is about the thickest handle that will fit in there, but it does fit in there nicely. And then the strap here is pushed through, and it holds it with enough tension, you know. And then there's no snap or anything on the inside to wear at the metal on the inside of the sleeve. It is a tight fit, but it does fit, in case you're looking for an inexpensive case. But if this is your only razor, you may want to invest in a nicer case. Just maybe one that also holds blades, or you know, that sort of thing. All right, so let's put this PolSilver in, and the way we do that with the Rex is to unscrew. The knob doesn't come off, so you can just unscrew it until it's done, and then the top cap will come off. Then on the bolt, we push the blade down. The rails and the bottom of the top cap keep the blades centered very well. And there we go. No adjustment needed. Let me make sure that I haven't moved the setting off of the 2 setting, and I haven't. So we're ready to go. Today the soap is the Seafarer by Zingari Man, and it's a new soap to me. It's a new brand. I haven't tried their stuff yet. They did an AMA, Ask Me Anything, on Reddit maybe a month or 2 ago, and it seems like nice folks do that. Maybe just one person, seemed like maybe a lady, And you know, sometimes it's hard to tell online, and my memory could be a little off. But they did a great job. It seems like a lot of people are liking the performance. So let's give it a shot. The Tribe is one of they're really popular and maybe their introductory scent. This is Seafarer. I can't remember if I looked up the notes, and I didn't really check my notes. So we'll just see what I perceive, and then what you can do to find out what notes are touted to be there. You can look at the description of the video. In the soap section, I will paste what they say online in terms of the notes that are in it, or the description from the vendor. Okay, it's somewhat firm. It comes out reasonably easy. You know, it doesn't try to stick in there like a light cream. And so now I'm going to take, and this is how we do samples. I do a little scoop with my 1/4 teaspoon measure, and then I take my bowl and I press the sample down in the bowl. And if it's a kind of a sample like this where it's got some firmness to it, you want to try to smear it so that there aren't really any big chunks that would easily break off. You want to kind of create a thin layer, and that way if anything does break off, then that's not good for you, because usually it just kind of rides around and gets pushed around with the brush instead of smoothed out and converted into lather by the brush. And so one of the shortcuts I'm trying lately is my bowl has these spines, and on the inside curvature of each spine I push some soap, and that lets me kind of smear it around evenly. I don't want it to be too thick because it might take the brush a while, especially if it's a brush with soft tips. It might take the brush a while to... Oh, I am rinsing my fingers off, and this is very slick. This is nicely slick, a nice buttery slickness here. I'm a fan right now. Okay, so that's it, smeared around my Roger Quintero lather bowl, and grip on the bottom here with the flange. I could do a thumb grip right here, but usually that would mean it's like this, and this is also a brush rest. And so when you lay your brush across it, my sink at home doesn't have a left side much to it except a trash can, and I don't want to put my brush over there kind of leaning over the trash can. It makes me feel weird. So I basically just use it with holding it like this, and then it's got this nice center raised divot, an inverse divot bump. Let's call it a bump. That's a better word. That will hold the brush, keep it from flattening out and going all submerged in the lather and stuff. And that usually works well. That bump acts as an agitator also. All right, I just took a shower, so I don't really need to... so I've already got a nice clean face. And I want to throw some water on my face and be right back. All right, I wet my face and resolved an argument with the kids. You know how that goes. They're upstairs watching TV, and all of a sudden you hear the boom argument. You did this, you did that. Well, then you pause. As a parent, you wait, because in just a minute, boom, 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 down the stairs. Boom, 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 boom. Dad! So, you know it's coming. All right. I've been soaking this brush. Shake most of the water out. This is my style. If you want to leave some water in, then you don't have to add as much later. Give that a shot. Can kind of help you to get your lathers going a little quicker maybe. Experiment, play around, see what you like. So being called the Seafarer instantly makes you think of something like Old Spice. And there's definitely something coming up to my nose that I kind of enjoy, kind of a woodiness, a spicy woodiness. I like the B5 from Declaration because it's one of the batches that he has that has the backbone and softness that's about as lower than just about any of the other modern batches that he's made. So when I heard that, I gravitated toward it and bought one. And I have discovered that a lot of times he might loft his, he has a certain range where he likes to have his knots lofted, as in, and this is how deep he sets them into the handle. And his standard range that makes him happy as a maker is a little bit lower than my standard range. And so the first one I got was just really stiff in terms of backbone. Not hard display, for me at least. I think a lot of people don't have any problems, but for me, I think it's because I do shave in an up and down motion, where a lot of people, if you do the painting, you're not going to have any problems. If you always stick with circles, you're not going to have any problems. Well, I've got this goatee, and so I can't really always do it in circles when I'm on my cheeks. And of course, there's some people that just paint in the back and forth painting motions, not in splay at all, and of course they're never going to have a problem with backbone. At least it's my guess, because they're not trying to splay the knot. And but every once in a while I would see, on a rare occasion like this one, I would see a knot that looked like it was not as deep as the average ones. And I snagged it up, and I'm glad I did, because every time I use it, I really do enjoy it. And after trying to loft some knots myself, I do understand what he's trying to stay away from. If you loft your brushes too high, then they just kind of lay over, and they don't focus the tips at your face. They just get weird. And I can see that. But I just needed a few more millimeters than kind of his standard was. If I ever order another one, maybe I could measure the loft on this one and say, hey, could you do it at this loft right here? And maybe if it was just 1 or 2 millimeters off of his standard, and if I, was able to say I have a B5 at this loft and it works awesome, then maybe I could convince him to loft at that. But right now, I guess it'd probably be a B8, because I think he's making the batch B7 and B8 right now. If you want more backbone, you go for B7. I've heard B8 is pretty close to... This lather's looking great, by the way. If you want something kind of close to the B5, I've heard the B8 is comparable. I wish I had more info on how comparable. Is it less backbone? I mean, the tips, I don't know that the tips could get any softer, and so I don't think there'd be anything to gain with that. But if the backbone is lower, then it might be just an even better batch for me at his default loft settings than the B5 was. Yeah, kind of woody, spicy is what I'm getting. I like it a lot. Definitely by that nature, a lot of times those type of scents are better for the fall and winter, but I could see using this any day. I don't smell any aquatics or anything like that. Alright, let's take a look at it. Kind of bring it down to the bottom of the bowl so I can pull up a clump. It's got a nice sheen to it. It drops with a small peak, holds its shape really well. That often means it's too dry for me to use yet. But let's take a feel. Very nice and slick. It looks too dry. Got a little bit of cushion to it, a little bit of resistance to my squeezing. I can just barely feel the fingerprint ridges on my fingers. That's really slick. I do see micro bubbles, but you know, sometimes that matters, sometimes it doesn't. Looks terrific. How does this feel? Feels very slick on my face. I think it's going to be a good performer. Yeah, good glide, I bet. So I think I'll go with this. It looks like it's a little too dry, but based on what I feel. And it takes a second to rinse the slickness off of my fingers. There's a lot of resident slickness there, so that could be a really cool shaving thing where maybe you don't have to put lather on to go back and touch up an area. We'll try that out. All right, now a little water on my face. Got a little frog in my throat today. A lot of times the first pass needs a little bit more water, maybe to dispel some of my natural kind of skin oils. So I wouldn't be surprised if I have to add that. Load up the brush here. A little over. No, about 24-hour growth, I think. As always, the brush feels super soft. This is one of those, it is expensive, but I think if you look at how many times you shave, it's probably worth it to try one. If you go to the Shave Bazaar, you can always resell it. And with these kind of brushes, you might be able to get all your money back. Especially if you wait until the batch has passed, you know. It does feel a little much, a little too thick right now, so added several drops. This is a nice, feels like a really nice shaving cream. Lather, you know, shaving soap. All right, there is some sort of oud or musk or vetiver, I think maybe. Something like that, that's kind of in the background, adding some nice depth and richness to the scent instead of just kind of spices. Now that's my guess. My nose is sometimes wrong. I have added a little bit more water to the lather. This is a luxurious lather. Feels terrific. I'll definitely have to try it with an inferior brush. These tips are so soft, it sometimes will make any lather feel better than it really is. So that's an interesting point. If you're looking at shave of the days and reviews and things, if you look at the brush they have, if they have a crazy soft brush, then the smoothness of the lather, they could be misinterpreting it because of that, because of the brush. All right. This Rex, it's modeled after the Gibbs adjustable razor, which I have used. I've been fortunate enough to have an online friend send it to me for some review. If you are interested in that razor, you can search YouTube for Sugar Daddy _shaves, and Sugar Daddy has no vowels except for the Y. And then Sugar Daddy _shaves, and type Gibbs, and that should point you to several shaves with the Gibbs razor. The appearance of the Gibbs and this razor are very similar. The arch and the way the safety bar here is kind of pointed, but I find that with the Gibbs, the whole range of adjustable settings I can enjoy and shave at, whereas with this one I don't want to really go above a 3.5 so far, and so it goes all the way up to 6, and so this is different in that regard. So they didn't copy the geometry of the razor precisely. this feels, I do have a little bit of blade feel, and this is the PolSilver, is that right? Yeah. And PolSilver does do well for me in many razors. Now, it is a blade that did not do well for me at first. This is also pretty comfortable. I'm really happy with this so far. So the 2 may be my setting for this razor if I choose to keep it. It's not perfectly smooth. Who knows? Maybe this razor I could go down to a 1. A lot of adjustable razors have the 1 set so low that, like the Rockwell, that it's almost so mild to be unusable. Really like the scent. Definitely a masculine scent. Just got some nice notes in it. What a good blend. Really sorry about my throat today. It's just a little iffy. I keep drinking water, but it kind of keeps cropping up as a problem. All right. Second pass. I'm sure it'll be even smoother because of the lack of the stubble. This brush, man, it makes me almost want to throw away all my other brushes. It'll be interesting how when I settle, when I have tried so many things, if I want to keep using brushes that are very soft, but maybe not this soft, will I want to keep doing that? Or will I just figure out, hey, this is the one I like, and why not just keep shaving with it? And just keep going back to it, you know? I don't know how that story is gonna play out. All right. So we'll keep going with the 2, because another thing I want to know, instead of just switching down to the 1 and giving it a try, I want to see how the 2 treats my face for 3 passes. Sometimes I have had an issue where there's been buildup of irritation. Now I am getting a little bit of drag with this razor. It's not skipping like it was the other day, where maybe the lather was probably a little too wet. But it is dragging a little bit, probably due to the large amount of surface contact with what, and you can kind of see wherever the lather is not, is kind of where it's touching. And so there may be some soaps with butters and oils and things like that. Now that's interesting. You know what I might try with this Rex? I'm going to try some Williams in it, because, or some other hard soaps like that, that aren't focused on post-shave care. I think Zingari Man does have some ingredients in it that are conditioners and oils and butters and things to help your skin after the shave. And especially if you have dry skin or sensitive skin, this may be really attractive to you, and for good reason. However, I wonder if it's slowing down such a high patch of contact razor like this one. And so if I switch to maybe a hard soap that doesn't have as many of those things, Williams, Tobacco, Mitchell's Wool Fat, Fine Accoutrements, maybe a vegan like the Prix de Provence. My favorite's the number 63. So some of those soaps, DR Harris. I'm definitely going to try to remember to use some hard soaps very shortly with the Rex, because if they provide mainly slickness, I believe what's causing the drag and the slowdown might be the post-shave properties and ingredients. It's just a theory at this point. We'll have to try it out. And how does my face feel now after? Not a lot of slickness. It is the water part is kind of drying. I would not want to shave over much of this area without relathering. It's not really too much of a problem, but it does tell you something about the soap. The lather is very stable. It's still slick. It hasn't dried out in terms of the lather itself. Now, what happens if I take some wet fingers and then rub them over an area? Now, that does restore some slickness. And one of the things I wanted to mention was that this, I hinted at it earlier, this soap takes a little while to rinse off. There are soaps out there that do that same thing, and many of those are my favorite soaps because that means they've got some slickness. And but if you're a rush shaver in the morning and you have tried some of those soaps that take a while to really get a good rinse, then that could be a detractor for you. It's not for me. Also, it's possible that that hard stuff to rinse off is maybe meant to be left on your face as conditioners. I don't know enough about the post-shave aspects about that. But Zingari Man, I think, has been pretty good on Reddit to answer questions and things. So maybe I could post that and reference her and see if she would reply. I hope I'm getting the gender correctly from my memory. All right, shave feels really good. I'm not feeling any irritation or anything like that. Let's do that third pass. In the break there, I've added just a little bit more water to my lather. I've probably got 2 or 3 passes left here in the brush and bowl. And that second one just felt a little thick, and so I was going to add a little bit more. And so now we've got a total of 3 teaspoons of water used to build this lather. And this was a 1/4 teaspoon, and it looks like I'm going to have plenty of product here, plenty of lather to do the job. And so I could back off of that 1/4 teaspoon. I don't know the price point of the Zingari Man. I don't recall that she was like the Gentleman's Nod where they're really charging a lot of money. And so it's probably worth it because this is a good lather. I'm really happy with this soap, and the fact that it is going to give me, probably 5 or 6 passes of lather from a 1/4 teaspoon. That also tells me that it's a good use, a good economical use of soap. You're not going to, I'm probably going to be able to make a tub of this, last quite a while instead of just a couple of months, And so that's good as well. So I definitely feel like I need to I might be on the lookout and pick up some Zingari Man. The notes on the Tribe scent looked really good to me as well, so it sounds like maybe I could go with Seafarer or the Tribe. Speaking of Seafarer, what am I getting? Yeah, there's definitely some woodiness in there. See what I'm getting now with it on my face instead of just having the bowl right up, which is a little more concentrated. I am able to smell it during the shave. It is light when it's just here on my face. It's a woodiness, but there are some tweaks. There's some like spicy tweaks that keep it from being a one-dimensional woodiness that's kind of generic and not special. I realize I'm being redundant right there, but sue me. All right, again, we're going a light touch. This is a heavy razor, relatively speaking. And so it's easy to let its weight keep momentum. Plow through the hairs, but you still need to have that light touch. Just enough to keep the blade on the skin. And if you have to do another pass or a touch up to get an area, so be it. Don't apply more pressure to try to cut an area well if you're having a problem area. It can lead to, obviously, razor burn, also cuts, and bad habits. So yeah, with this soap, there is the drag with this razor. So a couple of things. I mentioned also trying something with less post-shave butters and such. With this razor, but then also use the Zingari Man again with a razor with less contact patch. a Carve Open comb, or even something like a Gillette Tech, or I mean really just about anything. Very few razors have as much contact as this, except for maybe the Blackland Blackbird. All right, face feels great. I don't feel any irritation. I see a tiny bit of red right here, but that's very, very standard for me, and I don't really feel it very much. Okay, this is a very nice blade. Really happy with the closeness that I've got here in my trouble spot. This setting might be the one for me. I also am going to play around with the 1.5. It's rare for me to go down so far in an adjustables range. And this was, and it did stay, the 2 setting on the on this razor, on the Rex Ambassador. As you can see, the tabs of the blade are hidden inside the razor. You can't feel them from outside. My preference is to actually feel them, but it's no big deal because you can just slide the razor over a little bit and continue touching it only by the tabs, which is my custom, to keep my razor edges sharp, and obviously to protect myself against cuts, but really mainly to keep those edges. Old Spice Original. Let's continue with the seafaring theme. A little bit of stinging in the neck area, but no big deal. So it looks like this shave treated me well. My hair acts different when I just take a shower. It's really funny. All right, Old Spice. That's the original scent from India or something like that, where they're still making something close to the original scent. I think it is different from the original Shulton recipe, but I think it's a lot better than the current offerings here in the US. All right, so I did use up just 3 teaspoons of water for this shave. I do have at least 2 passes right here, probably 3 in the brush and bowl. Lather is tremendous. You know, what has been running through my head has been, how good is this lather? Is it good enough for me to call it a top tier lather? And it really might be, guys. It's just really, it feels really good on my face. If it's not top tier, it's really close. You know, and what I mean by top tier, Barrister and Man, Decoration Grooming, Holy Cow, maybe. You know what, I'd say it's pretty close to Holy Cow in my opinion. Because Holy Cow is kind of the bottom of the top tier for me. Noble Otter's new base is tremendous. I might say it's a little better than this, but it's pretty close. And am I missing anybody from the top tier? I think I pretty much got them. But yeah, it's a really good soap. So it all depends on the price. How does the price compare to maybe some of those top tier soaps? That might be a good indicator of where it is. The proprietor seems to have a really good attitude, and so it's always fun to support businesses like that. He or she did have a company, and they changed the name to Zingari, man, and it's a regional thing. I'm sure you can find it on the website what it means. And the other, I don't know if the other soap company had been making soap for a while and just maybe she reformulated and found a great lather base, and so then she renamed the company. You know, I don't know. Maybe she just wanted to head a certain direction. You could definitely get a lot of information by looking on Reddit. Look up Zingari Man AMA, and it might come up and answer a lot of questions about the company. But wow, I'm impressed by this sample and very thankful. And this is, I believe, a vegan base, and that's remarkable. That is, I forgot about that until just now. This may be the best vegan lather I've ever tried, and I've got some good vegan fans. I mean, ones that I am a fan of. They're vegan soap like Dr. John's and Soap Commander and those guys. Wow. So I have this sample, this vegan sample, but the awesome online friend who sent me this sent me the tallow tester. And I believe it's unscented, I believe, but it's what will become their tallow base. And so I'll be able to try that out. A lot of times tallows are slicker and butterier and that sort of thing. And I can't imagine it being, slicker than this. That is really impressive. Wow, I'm kind of speechless right now about that. Wow. Okay, well, let's put another dot on the PolSilver. And I got a great cut. And so obviously 18, 19 uses is not a problem at this point with the PolSilver across several different razors. All right, well, it's time to head to church. Time to clean up and get out of here. Hope there's been something helpful here for you. Something good that you've enjoyed. And thank you so much for watching. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. You take care.